Imagine waking up each morning feeling grounded, centered, and poised, regardless of what the day may hold. Picture yourself moving through life's ups and downs with grace and resilience, your inner calm undisturbed by outer chaos. This isn't just a distant dream, it's a way of living that has been pursued and practiced for centuries, rooted in the ancient wisdom of Stoicism. Today, we delve into a topic that's not just about understanding Stoic philosophy, but about recognizing and transforming behaviors that stand in our way. Stoicism teaches us how to live virtuously and find joy in the acceptance of what we cannot change, while working diligently on what we can. It's about recognizing our power to cultivate inner strength, wisdom, and tranquility, regardless of external circumstances. Stoic principles guide us to embrace challenges as opportunities for growth, to value simplicity over complexity, and to seek fulfillment in the elevation of our character. However, in our journey through modern life, we often find ourselves veering away from these principles, entangled in habits and mindsets that lead us astray. These anti-Stoic behaviors act as barriers to our personal and philosophical growth. They prevent us from experiencing the full richness of life and from embodying the Stoic virtues of courage, justice, wisdom, and temperance. And before we dive deep into the transformative wisdom of Stoicism, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel, not just as a viewer, but as an active participant in this journey of self-improvement. Remember, you're different from the majority. You've chosen to embrace this path, making you an exception. So don't skip any part of the video. Each segment is a crucial step toward understanding and integrating Stoic practices into your life, helping you stand out in a world of conformity. Number 1. Excessive materialism. In a world bombarded by advertisements and consumer culture, it's easy to believe that happiness lies in the next purchase or possession, but Stoicism encourages us to find contentment and happiness within ourselves. It teaches us that the pursuit of material wealth can often be a distraction from achieving true peace of mind and happiness. Stoics believe that by focusing on our inner selves, our character, our virtues, and our actions, we can find a deeper, more lasting form of joy. So, how can we apply this wisdom in our everyday lives? It starts with shifting our focus from what we want to acquire to what we want to experience and become. Think about the moments that have truly enriched your life. Chances are, they're not about the things you've bought, but the experiences you've had and the relationships you've nurtured. Whether it's a meaningful conversation with a friend, a breathtaking hike in nature, or the satisfaction of personal growth, these are the joys that stick with us, that shape who we are and who we aspire to be. Let's challenge ourselves to value simplicity and authenticity over extravagance and pretense. By doing so, we not only free ourselves from the endless cycle of wanting, but also open our hearts to the genuine happiness that comes from living a life aligned with Stoic principles. Remember, it's not the stuff we accumulate that defines our legacy. It's the wisdom we gain, the love we share, and the peace we find within ourselves. Number 2. Seeking external validation. We live in a world where the number of likes, shares, and follows can seem like direct measures of our worth. But here's something to ponder. When we hinge our self-esteem on others' approval, we're building our sense of self on very shaky ground. It's like constructing a house on sand. The slightest tide can wash it all away. Stoicism, with its profound wisdom, offers us a solid foundation. This ancient philosophy teaches us that seeking validation from outside ourselves is a precarious path. The Stoics encourage us to look inward for approval and self-worth. They counsel us to cultivate virtues like wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control, qualities that define our character and which no external force can diminish or take away. Let's consider this in our everyday interactions. How often do we change our opinions, mute our true thoughts, or alter our behavior just to fit in or please someone else? It's almost like wearing a mask, isn't it? But the problem with wearing a mask is that, over time, it can become suffocating. And deep down, we know it's not who we truly are. Stoicism nudges us to remove that mask, to embrace our authentic selves, and to find validation from within. This doesn't mean we should become indifferent to others or dismiss feedback entirely. After all, humans are inherently social beings, and connection is vital. What Stoicism teaches is the art of discernment, the ability to take in external opinions, weigh them against our internal compass, and decide which feedback can help us grow. It's about being secure in who we are and our journey of self-improvement, irrespective of applause or criticism. So, the next time you catch yourself craving approval or feeling swayed by someone else's opinion, pause. Ask yourself, am I seeking this validation for growth, or is it to fill a void of self-doubt? Remember, your value doesn't decrease based on someone's inability to see your worth. You are the custodian of your value, and it's your internal virtues, your actions, and your integrity that truly define you. Number 3. Rumination. Have you ever caught yourself replaying a conversation over and over in your head, or worrying incessantly about a future event? That's rumination. It's like a record that's stuck, playing the same chords of regret, worry, and fear on a loop. But here's the kicker. While we're busy ruminating about the past or the future, the present, the only moment we truly have, is slipping through our fingers. Stoicism, with its rich history of practical wisdom, offers us a lifeline out of this cycle. The Stoics weren't just philosophers, they were realists who knew the value of focusing on the present. They taught that while we can't change the past and can't control the future, we can influence the present. By anchoring ourselves in the now, we can break free from the chains of rumination that bind us to what we can't change or predict. But how do we do this? How do we pull our minds out of the past's shadows or the future's fog? The answer lies in practicing mindfulness and cultivating gratitude. When you catch yourself slipping into rumination, pause and take a deep breath. Look around you. Notice the colors, the sounds, the textures. This simple act of awareness can snap you back to the present, grounding you in the reality of the moment. And then there's gratitude. In the midst of our brooding, it's easy to overlook the blessings we have right here, right now. By consciously acknowledging these blessings, be it the warmth of the sun, the comfort of a home, or the presence of loved ones, we shift our focus from lack to abundance, from fear to appreciation. Stoicism teaches us that it's not the external events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. By choosing to focus on the present and cultivate a sense of gratitude, we're not just breaking the cycle of rumination, we're also aligning ourselves with the Stoic ideal of living according to nature, which in this context means embracing life as it unfolds, moment by moment. Remember, every time you pull yourself back from the past or the future to the present, you're strengthening a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger that muscle gets, and the less hold rumination will have over you. Living in the present, learning from the past without being chained to it, and preparing for the future without being consumed by worry, is the essence of Stoic wisdom. Number 4. Don't fear change. The Stoics understood that change is not just an inevitable part of life, but a necessary one. They saw change as the universe's natural order, a dance of transitions that offers opportunities for personal development and wisdom. Instead of resisting change, Stoics advocate embracing it, recognizing it as a pathway to becoming more resilient, adaptable, and ultimately more aligned with the flow of life. Imagine if we could view change not as a threat, but as an invitation to explore, to to learn and to evolve. When we shift our perspective in this way, the fear associated with change begins to dissipate. We start to see opportunities where we once saw obstacles. We find excitement in the prospect of new experiences and growth in the challenges they bring. But how do we make this shift? How do we learn to welcome change with open arms? It starts with a mindset shift. We must let go of the illusion of control, the belief that we can cling to the status quo. Instead, we embrace the Stoic understanding that the only true control we have is over our thoughts and actions in the present moment. Next, we can cultivate flexibility and adaptability, traits that allow us to navigate change with grace. This means being open to new ideas, willing to let go of old ones, and prepared to step outside our comfort zones. Remember, it's in the moments when we feel most uncomfortable that we often grow the most. Finally, we can practice seeing change through a lens of gratitude. Every change, whether it seems positive or negative at the moment, brings lessons and opportunities. By focusing on what we can learn and how we can grow, we transform our experience of change from one of fear to one of curiosity and appreciation. So let's not fear change. Let's embrace it as the Stoics did, as an essential and enriching part of the human experience. Let's step out of our comfort zones, explore the new, and find joy in the journey of becoming. After all, it's through change that we have the opportunity to discover our potential, to test our limits, and to craft a life that reflects our deepest values and aspirations. In the embrace of change, we find our true strength and our path to inner peace. Number 5. Stop worrying about trivial. It's easy to get caught up in minutiae, losing sight of what truly matters. The Stoics remind us that not all things deserve our energy and attention. They teach us the art of discernment, to recognize the difference between what we can change and what we must accept. This distinction is crucial because it empowers us to focus our efforts where they can truly make a difference, liberating us from the futile pursuit of controlling the uncontrollable. Imagine how much lighter your life could feel if you released the burden of trivial worries. Picture yourself moving through your day, grounded in the present, your mind uncluttered by insignificant concerns. This isn't just a pleasant fantasy, it's a practical reality that Stoicism invites us to embrace. So, how do we begin to let go of these trivial preoccupations? It starts with awareness. Catch yourself when you fall into the trap of petty worries. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week, a month, or a year? Is this something within my control? If the answer is no, grant yourself permission to release that worry. Consciously shift your focus to something that is within your control and warrants your attention. Moreover, Stoicism encourages us to embrace a larger perspective on life, reminding us of the impermanence of our experiences. When we zoom out and view our lives in the broader context of time and space, we realize that many of our worries are not just trivial, but transient. This realization can be profoundly liberating, fostering a sense of calm and equanimity, even amidst life's inevitable fluctuations. But Stoicism doesn't merely teach us to detach from trivial worries. It also guides us toward more meaningful engagement with life. By conserving our mental energy, we can channel it into pursuits that enrich our lives and the lives of others, deepening our relationships, cultivating our talents, contributing to our communities, and building a legacy that reflects our highest values. Number 6. Never seek revenge. When we've been wronged, we want to right that wrong, to even the score. But let's pause for a moment and consider, what does seeking revenge truly bring us? Does it heal our wounds, or does it just create new ones? The Stoics teach us that revenge is a trap. It's a visceral reaction that pulls us away from our rational selves. leading us down a path of anger and hurt. But here's the thing. When we give in to these impulses, we allow someone else's actions to control our emotions and dictate our state of mind. Why would we give someone that power over us? Instead, Stoicism advocates for forgiveness and understanding. This isn't about condoning wrong behavior or pretending it didn't hurt. It's about recognizing that holding on to anger harms us more than it harms the other person. It's about choosing to free ourselves from the toxic grip of grudges and resentment. But how do we do this? How do we release these powerful emotions and move toward forgiveness? It starts with acknowledging our feelings, allowing ourselves to feel hurt or angry without judgment. Stoicism doesn't ask us to suppress our emotions, but to understand them and to question the hold they have over us. Next, we can try to see the situation from the other person's perspective. This isn't easy, especially when we're hurt, but it can be incredibly illuminating. Often, we'll find that the person who wronged us is acting out of their own pain, fear, or misunderstanding. This doesn't excuse their behavior, but it can help us to see it as less personal, more human. And here's where the true power of Stoicism comes in. It teaches us to focus on what we can control. We can't control others' actions, but we can control our responses. By choosing forgiveness, we take back our power. We decide that we won't be defined by others' wrongdoings or consumed by negative emotions. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting or giving up on justice. It means making a conscious choice to let go of resentment. It means opening our hearts to healing and peace, even when it's hard. And when we do this, we align ourselves with Stoic virtues: wisdom in understanding the futility of revenge, courage in facing our pain and choosing a higher path, and justice in treating others, not as they deserve, but as we aspire to be. Number 7. Stop wasting your time. Stoicism urges us to live intentionally, to make conscious choices about how we spend our time, ensuring that our activities resonate with our deepest values and contribute to our personal and moral growth. The Stoics remind us that while we can't control the length of our life, we can control its depth and richness. They encourage us to ask ourselves, are we merely passing time, or are we truly living? Now, consider how you spend a typical day. How much of your time is spent on activities that genuinely matter to you? How much is frittered away on things you won't even remember a week from now? It's easy to fall into the trap of mindless scrolling on social media, binge-watching TV shows, or getting caught up in other people's drama. But imagine what could happen if you reclaimed that time, channeling it into pursuits that truly enrich your soul and elevate your existence. Conducting an audit of your time can be a revealing exercise. For a week, track how you spend each hour of your day. Be honest and comprehensive. At the end of the week, review your log and identify patterns. How much of your time is spent on activities that align with your values, that contribute to your growth, that bring you genuine joy? And how much is wasted on things that don't matter in the long run? Armed with this insight, you can begin to make intentional choices about how you spend your time. Perhaps you'll dedicate more hours to learning a new skill, nurturing your relationships, engaging in creative pursuits, or simply being present in the moment. Maybe you'll decide to volunteer, to give back to your community, or to spend more time in nature. The specifics will vary for each person, but the underlying principle remains the same: to live in accordance with your values, making the most of the precious time you've been given. Stoicism teaches us that each moment is an opportunity to live well, to choose actions that reflect our best selves. It reminds us that time is not to be squandered but treasured, used in service of the kind of life we aspire to lead. So, as you move forward, remember to ask yourself regularly, is this how I want to spend my finite time? Am I investing in activities that enrich my soul and contribute to my growth? In doing so, you'll not only honor the Stoic tradition, but also craft a life that is deeply fulfilling and meaningful. Number 8. Stop looking for problems. Whether it's fretting over what could go wrong next, or fixating on issues that might never materialize, this tendency can cast a long, dark shadow over our lives, obscuring the beauty and positivity that's also present. But what if we could shift that mindset? Stoics teach us the importance of focusing on what's within our control, our actions, responses, and judgments. When we encounter challenges, instead of getting bogged down by the problems themselves, Stoicism encourages us to direct our energy toward finding solutions. This proactive, solution-oriented mindset fosters resilience, empowering us to face life's inevitable hurdles with grace and composure. But how do we make this shift? How do we train our minds to look for solutions rather than problems? It begins with awareness. Start by observing your thoughts. Notice when you're falling into the trap of problem-seeking and consciously redirect your focus toward solutions. Ask yourself, what can I do right now to make this situation better? Even small, incremental steps can have a profound impact over time. Moreover, Stoicism encourages us to embrace adversity as an opportunity for growth. Instead of viewing problems as insurmountable obstacles, we can see them as chances to develop our character, to practice virtues like patience, perseverance, and courage. This perspective shift can transform our experience of life's challenges, turning potential stressors into valuable lessons and growth experiences. Adopting a problem-solving attitude also means cultivating flexibility and openness to change. Sometimes, the solutions we need require us to step out of our comfort zones, to try new approaches or consider alternative perspectives. By staying adaptable and receptive, we can navigate life's twists and turns with greater ease and effectiveness. But perhaps the most profound aspect of this Stoic teaching is its emphasis on inner peace. When we stop obsessing over what could go wrong and start focusing on what we can do right, we find a sense of calm and clarity. This doesn't mean we ignore potential problems or pretend they don't exist. Rather, it means we approach them with a constructive mindset, one that prioritizes action and solutions over worry and rumination. Stoicism doesn't just offer us a strategy for dealing with problems, it offers us a way of living more fully and joyfully. By shifting our focus from problems to solutions, we not only overcome challenges more effectively, we also open ourselves up to greater appreciation of the present moment, deeper engagement with our lives, and a more profound sense of fulfillment. Number 9. Impulsivity. Stoicism teaches us the value of deliberation and self-control, virtues that seem all the more precious in our fast-paced, instant gratification world. Stoics remind us that true freedom isn't about acting on every impulse. It's about being in command of those impulses, so our actions are always aligned with our deepest values and goals. But how do we tame impulsivity? How do we cultivate this Stoic ideal of deliberation in our own lives? It starts with developing awareness, recognizing those moments when impulsivity is knocking at the door. This could be as simple as taking a deep breath before making a purchase, or stepping back to assess our emotions before responding in a heated conversation. Patience is another key ingredient. In a world that celebrates speed and immediate results, patience is a form of quiet rebellion. It's waiting for the right moment to act, ensuring that when we do, it's in harmony with our long-term aspirations. Patience allows us to consider the broader picture, to weigh the potential outcomes of our actions, and to choose the path that is truly in our best interest. Mindfulness, too, plays a crucial role. It's about being fully present in the moment, aware of our thoughts, feelings, and surroundings, and how these influence our impulses. By cultivating mindfulness, we can create a space between impulse and action, giving us the clarity to choose responses that are constructive and aligned with our values. And what about when we falter? After all, we're human, and impulsivity is part of our nature. Stoicism doesn't demand perfection, it invites progress. When we act impulsively, we can reflect on the experience, learn from it, and use that knowledge to better navigate future temptations. This reflective practice reinforces our capacity for self-control and gradually reshapes our habits. Embracing these Stoic virtues doesn't just benefit us individually, it ripples out into our relationships, our work, and our communities. When we act with deliberation and self-control, we build trust, foster deeper connections, and contribute to a more thoughtful and considerate world. Number 10. Stop complaining. It's easy to vocalize discontent, but constant complaining saps our energy and fosters negativity. Stoicism teaches us that while we might not have control over external events, we do have control over our reactions to them. Complaining about something we can't change is like trying to teach a cat to sing, frustrating and futile. But how do we break the habit of complaining? First and foremost, it begins with awareness. Recognizing when we're complaining is the first step toward change. Once we're aware, we can start to shift our focus. Instead of dwelling on what's wrong, we can look for what's right. This isn't about ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing where to direct our attention and energy. Gratitude is an incredibly powerful tool in this process. By consciously focusing on the positives in our lives, we cultivate a sense of appreciation that can overshadow our inclinations to complain. It's about switching our mindset from lack to abundance, from discontent to appreciation. And the beautiful thing about gratitude is that it not only changes our outlook, it can also change our brain. Research shows that practicing gratitude can enhance our mood, improve our well-being, and even alter neural structures associated with positive thinking. Stoicism also encourages us to take action where we can. Instead of complaining about a situation, we're invited to ask ourselves, what can I do about this? Even if the action is small or seems insignificant, it's a step toward empowerment and away from victimhood. By adopting this proactive mindset, we move from passive complainers to active participants in our lives. In essence, Stoicism doesn't just help us stop complaining, it guides us toward a more fulfilled and contented life. By accepting what we can't change, focusing on the positive, and taking action where possible, we can transform our habitual responses to life's challenges. We can cultivate a mindset that sees opportunities for growth and learning in every situation, that appreciates the good while acknowledging the bad, and that finds contentment not in external circumstances but in our internal attitudes. So the next time you catch yourself starting to complain, pause and remember the Stoic approach. Ask yourself what you can appreciate in this moment, what you can change, and how you can shift your focus toward the positive. By doing so, you'll not only reduce your own dissatisfaction, you'll also contribute to a more positive and uplifting environment for those around you. After all, joy is contagious, but so is negativity. Choose joy. And there we have it, a journey through the wisdom of Stoicism, guiding us toward a life of greater contentment and purpose. Remember, it's not the events in our lives that shape us, but our responses to them. Every day offers a new canvas, and Stoicism equips us with the brush to paint our reactions with intention and grace. Thank you for joining me on this Stoic journey. Your presence and engagement are what make this community so special. As we part ways today, I invite you to continue exploring the path of Stoicism by watching one of the suggested videos on the screen. Dive deeper, learn more, and let's grow together in wisdom and virtue.